What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Mike Robinson, and this is another episode of Let's Take a Walk. I hope everybody had an awesome week. I definitely did. And as usual, Eltar is bringing you the most interesting guests that we possibly can. Tonight, we have another very special guest. Her name is Miss Dedra Moon. She is the owner and proprietor of Moon Tax and Accounting. Since it's tax season, man, we just figured it was only right, and it really made sense to have one of our resident experts come on and just talk about the ins and outs of tax preparation and the things that go along with it, and just overall finances and accounting. So with that being said, I am going to give Miss Dedra Moon the floor in case you guys are not familiar with her movement. I'm going to give her a moment to kind of reintroduce herself and give a little background to who she is and some of the things that she has going on. So with that being said, Ms. Dedra, you have the floor.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. Round of applause for me. Yay! Hey, everyone. Pardon my voice. It has kind of escaped me tonight, but that is not going to stop the flow, okay? Somebody needs to hear this information. So beyond the voice, I'm Dedra Moon, and I am your favorite auntie accountant. Now, I say it that way, Mike, because I am an accountant, and I take pride in making sure that I am delivering information in a way that you can receive it. Much like you remember when you were younger, and you had this favorite auntie, right? You used to love to go to her house. You would go over there for sleepovers, and that is your spot. You love to be there. And she, just loved upon you. However, when you were cutting up, she would get you all the way together.
Right.
Okay. So that's who I am. I am your auntie accountant that helps you deal with your Uncle Sam. Okay. So I'm your favorite auntie helping you deal with your least favorite uncle.
Okay, that's clever. Okay. So we are, as I said earlier, we are in that time of year where everybody is kind of pulling their hair out. They are waiting on W-2s and housing forms and contribution forms.
To deal with your Uncle Sam, right?
Right, absolutely. We're waiting, pulling our hair out, trying to get our stuff together so that we can get the biggest refund back or not be audited and none of that good stuff. So can you tell us what this time of year means for you? What are some of the things that go through your mind when you come into this season?
Okay, so that's a great question, Mike. I know that many who see this broadcast may be familiar with social media, correct? We probably all have Facebook or Instagram or something like that. And so, you know how toward the middle of December, we start to see the meme with Mariah Carey. And Mariah goes, "It's time." That's how I feel.
Right.
It's the time of year where we take the first quarter of the year and pretty much tell Uncle Sam what we've been doing. We tell Uncle Sam how we have earned our income so that he can determine how much of a piece he gets to receive from us. So it's time to sum up 2022 with a check.
Absolutely. So what's the first thing that you do? Like what's the first thing that you do, or what's the most important thing for you at this time? Like, what do you have to make sure is in place at this stage of the season?
Okay, that's a really great question. So, as I mentioned, Uncle Sam wants us to sum up a year's worth of activity into a check. Either he's going to cut us a check or we're going to cut him a check. So,
Right.
all of the activity ends up in one area, which is a check. Am I giving it to him or is he giving it to me? So in preparation, I mean that's keeping it real, Mike.
Yeah, that's a
That's the
fact.
easy
That's
way
a
to say
fact.
it. Uh, so in preparation for that, it is very important that we gather all of our income sources. Now, as simple as that sounds, that may be difficult for some. What I mean by that is many people work a W 2 job. We all
Right.
know what those are. We work for someone else and we get a paycheck on a regular basis. And at the end of the year, that employer gives us a W 2. That's a source of our income. Okay, super simple. We also may receive sort of income from other sources. For example, Social Security, Veterans Administration, uh, stocks, bonds, investments, dividends, any place where we may have received income for 22 should provide us with an income source document, maybe a 1099.
Mm-hmm.
So primarily, most of your income is reported on either a W 2 or a 1099.
Okay.
Those should be in your mailbox by now because, of course, the deadline for the source to mail those out is January 31st, which we just passed.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, if you have not received a W 2 or a 1099, you should contact that source. And
Okay.
here's something that many of us may not realize. When we get that W 2 in the mail or that 1099 in the mail, and when I say mail, Mike, I'm referring to old school mailbox as well as your inbox. Okay,
Right.
because some sources email it out. Well, what we may not realize is that when we receive that document, they have already sent a copy to Uncle Sam.
Mm.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay. Now that's something I didn't know. Okay. Got you.
Listen, Mike, listen. It is such an unfortunate incident when a client comes to me, brings me their W 2s, and they said, "Hey, I'm ready to file." So, of course, I do my due diligence. I ask questions, and they're like, "This is it. I'm ready to file." So I may prepare the return and they're getting a refund. Let's say $1,000.
Mhm.
Yay. I mean, it's $1,000. Everybody loves
Right.
$1,000, right?
Right.
Well, fast forward maybe 3 or 4 months from now, and they're back on my phone going, "Oh, I forgot about a job that I worked at the beginning of the year and I moved and
Right.
I'm like,
Right.
how did they forget? But whatever. Okay. And I moved, and so I never got the W 2, and now it just showed up. What do I need to do? Well,
Mm.
Uncle Sam wants his cut, and he already has received a copy, so you have to file an amendment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I am your auntie. I love you all, but filing an amendment is not free. Okay, so
Got you.
now you have to pay me again to do an amendment. So
Mm.
don't do that, y'all. Now, listen, I love a check just like everybody else. I will not be mad at you having to pay me again. I will not be mad at that. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that for you. So don't do that, you guys. Don't do that. Make sure you have all of your W 2s, all of your 1099s from all of your 22 sources. Okay? Okay?
Okay.
All right. Now that's the easy part. The more difficult part is for those of you who have deductions that you want to take. And don't get me wrong, I love me a good deduction too. Because again, that boils down to less of a check that you may have to write Uncle Sam.
Mm-hmm.
So listen, y'all, these deductions are super important. The most common one may be for your children.
Okay.
Okay. I tell my own children who are adults now, but I tell them often, when you were younger, under the age of 16, you were worth a whole lot more to me.
Right.
Okay. We know that there are certain deductions that we're eligible to take when the children are smaller.
Right.
Um, so, having said that, you want to make sure you have your social security card for your child and possibly your birth certificate. Now, you might be thinking, why do I need that? Okay, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I'm gonna keep it real. Okay, can I do that, Mike?
Please do. Please
Okay.
do.
Now, you guys know occasionally we may have parents who are not together, right?
Right.
Things didn't work out. Hey, it happens. And we share a child. For lack of a better word, sometimes people may call that your baby mama or your baby daddy.
Right.
Okay? For lack of
Right.
a better word, okay?
Right.
Listen, y'all. Listen. The person who provides more than 50% of the support, more than 50% of the support, is the person who is legally eligible to claim that child as a deduction. Now, I know that oftentimes when there is a child support situation, one of the parents may feel like, hey, I pay child support. I should be able to claim the child.
Right.
Well, technically, that's not the case because when you look at the child's care, are you providing more than 50% of the care? Now, when you're paying $100 a week child support,
Right.
now I am a boy mom. I have 3 sons. Okay. So I understand this from the male perspective. If you are paying $100 a week child support, that is probably not 50% of that child support, y'all. It's
Right.
it's it's and
Right.
guys, I love y'all. I love my guys. And women too. I don't want to be sexist and think that women can't pay child support because they can.
Mm-hmm.
But whomever is paying the child support, if you're paying $100 a week, you're probably not paying 50% of their child's care. You're just
Right.
not.
Right.
You ain't. And you know it. So stop fighting at tax time. Okay.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
So your deductions usually begin with your dependents. So you want to make sure you have socials and data and birth certificates. And then if you are a business owner, oh Lord, don't have me fall out. Do not have me falling out. Okay. I love my business owners. My business is built on helping small business owners. Listen, y'all got to help me help you. Okay. Help me help you. You can't come to your tax appointment and have run a business all year long and not maintain any kind of bookkeeping.
Right.
Let me
Right.
tell you a funny story. I have a client who is he owns a car wash. Okay. And I've tried to get him on monthly bookkeeping all year long. He tells me, oh, I don't do enough for bookkeeping. I can't afford bookkeeping. I can do bookkeeping myself.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, okay. Okay, bruh. Okay. Mike, he walked into my office this week. He sat down and he pulled out 12 Crown Royal bags.
Mm-mm. 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 Wow.
Okay, okay.
Not
I'm
the
no
not the
hater.
Crown Royal.
I'm no hater. But I said, okay, well,
Know
let's
what
see
you've been
what we
doing in
have going
between
on
business
here.
deals. Yeah, I got you. Okay.
He had, no, at least in his defense, at least he kept up with it monthly.
That's a fact.
He,
Hmm.
he
That's a
had
fact.
12 bags, Crown Royal bags, worth of receipts. And he just dropped it on my desk for me to figure out. Now, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to go through all 12 Crown Royal bags,
Hmm.
but Auntie cannot work for free. So he has to pay me to sort all of that out.
Right.
Whereas he could have hired me all year to keep up with that and probably spent less or at least spaced it out throughout the year. So
Right.
I say all that to say, yes, keep up with your receipts. However, let's try to have it in an organized bookkeeping manner so that I don't have to, as my children would say, crack you over the head at the last minute.
Right. So I
Okay.
was I was gonna ask. I was That was one of the questions I was gonna ask. I was gonna ask what's the most common mistake that people make when they come to you? What would you say is the number one mistake that a person comes in that makes when they come in?
Okay. And those are the two most common, the
Okay.
dependent and the deductions, especially when you're a business owner. The dependent number, oh, let me share something with you. I know that we lovingly and jokingly mention baby daddies and baby mamas. We
Hmm.
say that with lots of love and a little bit of jokes.
Right.
What I find is that occasionally the non custodial parent will have access to the dependent's social security number
Hmm.
and they will claim that dependent even if legally they are not supposed to do that. Y'all know it happens. People get that W 2, they have the social security number, and they run straight to file their taxes. Well, then the custodial parent, when they go to file, that social security number is already in the system.
Right.
You're stuck. You stuck like Chuck, and you looking like, what happened? What
Right.
happened? Well, here's a little trick to get around that. Every year, you can request what's called an IP PIN. IP PIN, PIN, IP PIN. It is
Hmm.
a 6-digit number that the IRS issues to you every December. You get a new number every December. And this is basically a PIN for that social security number. It could be yourself or a dependent because identity theft is an issue as well. So you
Hmm.
can get an IP PIN every year and you cannot file that social without that IP PIN.
Wow. See, that's a new one too. I did not know that.
Okay,
And
so think about it this way. Let's say you are a divorced couple. Okay, so you're not a baby mama, baby daddy situation. You were married to this person. You
right.
guys um, divorced, and in your divorce decree, you were given the right to claim your child. Okay. Well, remember in prior years, y'all filed jointly, and the social for the dependent is on the tax return. Okay.
Mm.
So
Hmm.
this year, the other spouse gets a, I said I was going to keep this real, right?
Hmm.
Okay. So the other spouse gets a hair up their butt and decides they're going to go file knowing they're not supposed to. But they have the social right there on a previous tax return.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, if the other spouse or ex-spouse would have gotten an IP pin, that spouse who was trying to be shady would not have been able to file because they wouldn't have the pin. So if you
So
are
how does one go about getting the IP pin?
okay, it's simple. IRS.gov. IRS.gov. You apply for a pin, and then remember, you get a new one every year. So, true story. Today, Mike, you know that meme where the guy goes, today. Okay.
Right, right.
Today, I had a guy call me and he gave me all his information for him and his son. Now, I did my due diligence and asked all of the appropriate questions. And this guy signed off on the fact that he cares for this child.
Hmm.
Now, once I ask you all of my required questions, I've met my burden. So I've done what I was supposed to do.
Right.
And he even gave me an IP pin. I said,
Mm.
okay, great. Well, lo and behold, I prepare it and I submit it to the IRS. This morning, it bounced back this evening because he gave me a 2021 pin.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so what he didn't realize was that the IRS issues a new one every year. Every December, you get a new IP pin, such that if you are alternating years, you can't claim that child without the New Year's pin.
Right.
So when I explained that to him today, and we did a conversation on Zoom, because when I meet with you, again, I can work with anybody all over the country. I am licensed to do that. And when I'm working with your numbers, I want to see your face. I want to look in your eyes.
Hmm.
Okay. I need to see you. Okay. And so when I'm talking to him, we're on Zoom and we're, having this type of conversation, and his eyes start going.
Right.
And I'm sitting here like,
Right.
hmm. So I say all that to say you get an IP pin to protect someone from claiming your dependent or
Hmm.
even using your social. And there's a new one issued every year. So if you need an IP pin, just go to irs.gov, sign up, and you'll get a new one every December.
So if you get one every December, is that when you request it, or can you request it in January and get it in December, or
You
is
can
that how it works?
request it. You can request it at any time of the year, but it's all, and then in the subsequent year, it's always issued in December.
Okay.
So
Got
let's say you run into this situation this year, and
you.
there's nothing you can do because the other parent has claimed the child. There's
Hmm.
nothing you can do. You can get an IP pin that will
Hmm.
be issued to you in December so
Hmm.
that next year
You straight.
you straight
Got you.
like that. You straight like
Right.
that. Okay.
Okay.
And one last thing, if that happens to you where the other person claims a dependent and they shouldn't have, you guys, it is a long, long process to get it straightened out. So let's say that happened and you come to me and you're like, Auntie, because my clients end up calling me Auntie.
Hmm.
Auntie, my ex claimed the child and he shouldn't have. What do we do? You guys, we now have to pull the school records. You have to show where you bought the latest Air Jordans. You paid the
Mm.
cell phone bill. You went to Lynnhaven Mall, which is my local mall, but you went to the mall and bought all the school clothes. You now have to prove that you provided more than 50% of the support in order to um, defend against this claiming of the dependent. So, to avoid having to do all that, get an IP pen. Just get a pen, okay? Okay.
That's
Okay.
right.
All
Okay,
right.
wow. You said a mouthful. Let's back up for a second.
Okay.
What what made you get into this industry? I was trying to find the right words. What made you get into this industry?
Okay, Mike, I'm keeping it real. Sometimes I ask myself the same question. Like, girl, what are you doing? Girl,
Right,
what are you
right,
doing?
right.
Okay. But to give you guys a little background, I am a graduate of yes, I have to say Tuskegee University.
Okay,
I know y'all heard of it. Y'all heard of
gotcha.
it. So I do, it's an HBCU, and I do love my HBCU. But I'm a graduate of Tuskegee University in
Hmm.
accounting. I also have an MBA, and I have doctoral work in accounting. So the reason why I'm in this field is because I saw a gap in the market. And that gap was people who look like me,
Hmm.
people who look like me oftentimes didn't have access to the information that maybe other cultures may have had, um, especially if our parents and our parents' parents weren't able to help us with this knowledge.
Right.
So I felt like in our culture, um, for generations, we've been kind of oblivious to some of the potential good things that happen at tax time. And I wanted to stand in that gap. I wanted to be able to deliver that information to people who look like me in a way that people can easily understand.
Hmm.
And I found that I had a way that I could do that. So I'm able to take very complex tax laws and make them make sense.
Okay, absolutely, absolutely. That's it. I mean,
And I
go
do it in a way that, is sometimes entertaining.
ahead. Okay. Yeah, I think that you brought up an interesting point. And not just in what we're talking about right now, but just in general. Sometimes we need a more practical. There needs to be a more practical approach to a lot of the things that are important and beneficial to us. I think that there is a group that de- depends on the fact that stuff is over our heads so that they
Absolutely.
can maneuver how they want to maneuver. But when you have people like yourself who are willing to break it down and to ebonics if need be,
If need
to
be.
to get understanding, that's super important, and that's a very, very great point. um Now, I asked you what's the biggest mistake that people make when they come into your office. You talked about keeping good bookkeeping.
Hmm.
Um, what are the benefits of maintaining good bookkeeping when it comes about this time when you have to settle up, so to speak?
Okay. So, Mike, listen. Um, my perspective is this. Now, we all, and when I say we all, I mean me, you, your mama, my mama, we all have to pay our fair share to Uncle Sam. However, we should not pay a penny more. Okay?
Mm,
We should
mm,
pay. I am an advocate. I want you guys to make sure anyone who sees this podcast, I am an advocate for paying our fair share. However, we should not pay a penny more. And what I mean by that is this. Now, don't nobody throw no tomatoes at me, okay? Don't throw tomatoes at me. I am your IT accountant. Remember, you love this face. Okay. All
Mhm.
right. So, a certain former president, we have all heard that this former president didn't pay very much in taxes. We've heard
Right.
that. It's on the news all the time. Well, here's the thing, if that former president is just applying the IRS code, the IRC, Internal Revenue Code, to his advantage, we can't be mad. We
Right.
can't be mad. I mean, we mad. We mad for real, but we can't be because he's just
Right.
applying the
Right.
code. He
Right.
just is using what's available to him. And so often we don't do that. We don't
Mhm.
use the codes that are out there. And so then we're paying more than our fair share. And with me and my firm, that's what we work hard not to do. We don't want to pay a penny more than our fair share.
That's right.
And keep in mind, you guys, as I said, I'm an advocate for paying your fair share because we know this country runs on our tax dollars. Much of our programming, our country's budget comes from our tax dollars. So we recognize that we have to pay into the system. We get that. However, we should not pay a penny more.
That's right.
Okay, did I say that enough?
Right. Right.
Correct. Pay our fair share and not a penny more. I'm an advocate of that. Okay.
So when when a person, what have you found to be the most common reason that people end up having to pay the IRS?
Okay. Oh, Mike, that is such a good question. And it is multi layered because we know everybody is not the same. Okay. Those who just work a regular W 2 are not the same as those who work a 1099 job or who own their own business. So let me give you a
Mhm.
couple of examples. Those who work a W 2 job, meaning they work for somebody, they get a paycheck regularly, and taxes are withheld.
Mhm.
Mike, listen, far too often people play with their W 4s. You know, what do the young kids say nowadays? You're not going to play in my face. They're
Mhm.
playing in Uncle Sam's face with the W 4. So the W 4 is what you fill out when you first get a job,
Right.
and you can change your W 4 anytime you want to, as many times as you want to. So what happens is people get a new job and they fill out their W 4 incorrectly. So
Mhm.
then in that, they are not having taxes withheld properly from each paycheck. So what happens is at the end of the year, you get your W 2 and you've made $50,000 and you've had $5 withheld.
Right.
Come
Right.
on now. Come on now. That's why you end up owing. And again, very often it happens when you start the job because you fill out the W 4 incorrectly. But there are some who play funny games with the W 4 throughout the year. So, one thing that my company can do for you is we offer what's called a paycheck checkup. This is where, let's say, first quarter, you've received 12 weeks worth of pay. I take your last pay stub and I can tell you almost to the penny what your tax return will look like next year,
Mhm.
just based on your pay stub. So if you are ever wondering, am I withholding properly? book me for a paycheck checkup, and we can determine if you're withholding too much or too little. Now, let me segue right there, Mike.
Okay.
I know people receive big refunds and they feel like that's a flex, right?
Right.
They balling, right? They
Right.
balling.
Right.
$5,000 refund. Yes. Oh, yes, yes,
Right.
yes.
Right.
Okay, listen. I get it. I get it. You know, having $5,000 at one time is hard to come by. That's not something that happens regularly. So when you get that refund, you are like, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not a flex. And here's why I say that. In many cases, you are receiving back your own money.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So listen to this for a minute now. When you fill out your W 4, Uncle Sam is getting his money from each paycheck, right?
Right.
Well, at the end of the year, when you do your tax return, you're basically reconciling everything. You're kind of summing it all up. Well, if you're getting a refund, in some cases, now there are some credits that will allow you to get a refund, but in some cases, if you're getting a refund, Uncle Sam is giving you back your own money. Now,
Okay.
so what you have done is you have loaned Uncle Sam your money for 12 months and he gives it back to you interest free. And
Mm.
you over there doing the Dougie. You happy. You like,
Right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's not a flex, y'all,
Right.
because he's just giving you back your own money that you allowed him to borrow for
Right.
12 months interest free. Which one of your credit cards is interest free?
Zero.
Is
That's
your
a fact.
home loan interest free?
No.
No. Anybody who loans you money, you pay it back with interest.
Right.
When you give Uncle Sam your money, he gives it back to you with no interest.
Wow. That's, you know what? That's powerful. That's powerful. That's a bar. That's a bar. That's a bar.
But people think it's a flex. Now think about it this way. Okay, let's say you're getting back $3,000. Let's think about January, February, March, April, May. Any of those months, was your cell phone maybe cut off for a day? Because you couldn't pay T-Mobile that day. You had to wait till Friday for payday. So your phone was cut off for a day. Okay.
Right.
T-Mobile cuts it back on, but they charge you a $36 reconnect fee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So your T-Mobile bill was $200 that you did not have that day. You had to pay T-Mobile $236 to get it back on.
Right.
And then at tax time, you get a refund for $3,000. Well, that 236 that you had to come up with, you had it, but you let Uncle Sam use it, and then he just gave it back to you interest free. It's
Wow.
not a flex, y'all. It is not a
Right.
flex. It's not. And this is
Right.
why I would love to do a paycheck checkup for you, because I'm going to tell you this stuff specifically for you. I'm going to say, Mike, listen, Mike, do you want to get a $3,000 refund in February of next year? And you might be like, yeah, yeah, I want 3,000. Okay, Mike, but it's just your money that you let Uncle Sam use interest free. If that's the case, let's do
Right.
this, Mike. Let's open up an interest bearing savings account or a CD. Let's take that $200 per paycheck, instead of giving it to Uncle Sam, put it in an interest bearing account so that at the end of the year, at least you'll have some interest off of it. Now, keep in mind, the interest
Right.
isn't going to be a huge amount because
Right.
banks right now, they're
Now,
not paying
now
much. But $5 is better than no dollars.
that's a fact. That's a fact.
And Uncle
That's a
Sam
fact.
is just going to give it back to you with no no interest. You can pay yourself instead. So
Okay,
let me get
I
off
got
my
it.
soapbox. Let me get off my. As you see, I am very passionate about this, Mike. I know what I'm talking about, and I can help you. And it
I got
burns
it.
me up that we don't know this stuff. Okay.
Okay, I got a couple of questions in the comment section.
Wow. Okay.
Um,
Wait a
Miss
minute.
Ash,
Wait a minute. So people are watching us while I'm cutting up
absolutely,
like this. I'm cutting up and people
absolutely,
watching.
absolutely. Um, Ashley Joan would like to know: do you have to file your Roth IRA or individual IRA? That's her first question.
Okay,
So we'll
hey
start with that.
Ashley. Hey. Okay, so Ashley, in general, the answer is yes. However, with taxes, my answer to you is usually going to be in general because every situation is different. So, to answer your question, Ashley, in general, yes. However, depending on your full picture, will be the actual full answer. So, I can't say to you, Ashley, yes, for sure, you must. I can only say in general until I see the full package.
Okay. And her other question was is where do you get that account from? So I'm assuming what she's asking is when you made the comment about investing or taking the 200 from Uncle Sam and putting it in an interest bearing. So
Okay.
is there and that's a good question. What is there a specific type of bank? Will credit unions are they better to put your money in versus
Okay.
other types of banks or whatever? What type of account? Uh, where do you
Okay.
what's the best place?
So that is a really loaded question. And
Okay.
I don't mean to be evasive because I am fully transparent. But
Mhm.
here's the thing, the best account is going to depend on your overall situation. If nothing else, bare minimum, yes, go to your local credit union, your local big bank, and open up an interest bearing account. Because again, even if you get $5 in interest, that's better than the $0 Uncle Sam is going to give you. Okay.
Right.
But as it relates to a specific account, Ashley, I would encourage you to speak with a financial planner. And if you don't know any, I can certainly, refer you to several that I know to talk about your whole situation. Again, it's never going to be, I'm not able to give you a specific question, a specific answer for your situation without having the full picture. But long story less long, any bank, any credit union, open up at the bare minimum an interest bearing savings account, but then talk to a financial planner to take a broader look at your situation.
Okay. I have a coworker, actually a supervisor.
Oh, a friend. You
Yeah.
asking for a friend.
Well, I'm just asking a general question. I have a
Uh-huh.
coworker who actually he's a supervisor, right? He's a director, matter of fact.
Mhm.
He says that he doesn't on his W form, he doesn't claim any taxes at all. He just waits till the end of the year and pays what he owes. Now, is that is that
No,
why?
no, no. And here's the reason why. Uncle Sam, the IRS, Uncle Sam says, if you know, and that's the operative word, if you know you're going to owe more than $1,000 for the year, you are required to pay quarterly. And if you don't pay quarterly, then Uncle Sam is going to charge you interest and penalties from the first day it was due. So, in your
Mm,
supervisor's example, he knows he's going to owe more than $1,000. And he's okay with writing a check, one big check. Okay, ball out, okay. However, you're paying penalties and interest because Uncle Sam wants his money quarterly if you're going to owe more than $1,000. Okay, think about it this way. As I stated, our country runs on our tax dollars, right? So Uncle Sam has to put measures in place to keep that money coming in regularly. So if everybody waited till once a year to make their payment, we'd be in worse financial situations than we already are. So if you know you're going to owe, and the word know is important because you're thinking, well, how will I know? How would I know? Uncle Sam don't care. Uncle Sam says you should know and you need to find out, because if you know you're going to owe more than $1,000, you are required to pay that quarterly. So let's look at $1,000. You know you're going to owe $1,000 for the year. Uncle Sam wants $250 in April, $250 in July, $250 in October, and then the other $250 in January. Because think about it. How much easier is it to pay $250 quarterly versus $1,000 in one check? Uncle Sam knows you are less likely to pay him when the check is that large. So he says, pay me quarterly, because he knows he's more likely to get his money if your checks are smaller that you have to pay. But overall, for your supervisor, that's really not a good approach, because he is paying penalties and interest for that full year because Uncle Sam wanted it quarterly.
So he ends up paying more than he actually would have owed had he done the. Okay,
Exactly.
Got you.
Like I said, it's all about cutting a check. And Uncle Sam, you guys, Uncle Sam is always in the corner like this. Yeah, yeah. That's what Uncle Sam is doing. He's in the corner licking his lips, waiting for y'all not to pay so he can charge you penalties and interest. And y'all, they can be very steep. So don't do that. Don't do that.
Wow. And wouldn't that draw unnecessary? Isn't that just a audit maybe waiting to happen? Like, would that draw attention to you if you continuously end up paying? You know what I'm saying? Doing that every year.
Okay, so as they say on social media, is that a red flag? Red flag. Okay. So in general, owing every year is not a red flag, because many people, of course, owe taxes. So it's not necessarily a red flag. It's not more of an audit trigger to owe every year. It's just not a wise financial move, because you're going to pay more than if you just paid it quarterly.
Okay. What's the when we talk about deductions, right? We're talking about our kids and stuff like that. But in your opinion, what is the most beneficial deduction a person can do during the year, outside of the whole children thing, whatever? Like for instance, donating money to charity or giving clothes to Goodwill, that type of thing. What's the most beneficial deduction a person can, claim?
Okay, Mike, I love that question. I love that question because what you are alluding to, that you may not even realize, is what's called tax planning. Now, of course, we all are familiar with tax prep. That's this time of the year. We're getting W-2s in the mail. We're getting our kids' socials. We're doing tax prep. However, there is so much power in tax planning. And again, I can't give you a specific about everybody's situation, because everybody's situation is different. But what I can share with you is that professionals like myself and many others, we also do year-round tax planning, meaning looking at your situation and coming up with strategies to help you. Here's one of my favorite. But again, you can't do it Now, because now it's too late. The year is already done. So you need to be doing this beforehand so that you have a better situation at tax filing time.
Hmm.
Okay. One of my favorite tax planning strategies is this, and this is gonna blow y'all mind. This is gonna be like, okay, let's say you have a small business. And when I say small business, that can be anything where you are in the pursuit of gaining revenue. I don't
Hmm.
care if you are dog sitting. If that's your side business, okay, it's a business. I don't care if you strip at Magic City. I don't care. I don't care. If you are listen, listen, okay? Get your bag however you get your bag. Let's just be able to manage Uncle Sam. Okay.
Right.
So if you are running a small business, tax planning will teach you how to employ your children under the age of 16 and get a potential deduction of over $12,000. Okay, now parents, I know we have some parents watching. I'm a parent. Check this out. How often do your boys want the new NBA 2K22? Or how often do your boys want the new Jordans that just dropped? How often do your boys want the new iPhone 15 that just dropped? Okay. And as
Hmm.
the good parents that we are, we're going to get it. We're going to get it. We're going to fuss. We're going to
Yeah.
fuss, but we're going
Right.
to get it, right? We're going to get it.
That's a fact. That's a
That's
fact.
facts. Okay. I have 3 boys. Trust me, I know. I hated Air Jordan for so many years. Luckily, they're grown now and they buy their own. And as a matter of fact, my youngest son bought me some cherry Air Jordans for Christmas. Are those the 11s or the 13s? I don't know, but some cherries. I got my first pair of Jordans. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
when your children are under 17 and you have a business, you could potentially employ your children. Now, check out this is a flex. This is a flex, y'all. Okay. Let's say you are a dog sitter. That's your business. And your son wants the new Jordans. And you gonna buy them. You gonna pay that $250, but you're gonna be mad, but you're gonna do it. Okay. Well, now tell son to go sweep up the dog kennels. Now, he's going to do it anyway because he lives there and y'all keep the house clean. He's going to do it anyway. But instead of just buying the Jordans, now you tell him clean up after the dogs because that's your business and you'll give him the 250 as wages. So
Hmm.
now on your tax return, you have a $250 expense for wages. When
Wow.
for real, you
Wow.
was just buying the Jordans because you gonna buy the Jordans. You do
Right.
not want to see his lip poked out.
Right.
You do not want him to be the only one at school that don't have the new iPhone. I know it.
Yeah.
We do it. We do.
Right.
We all
Mhm.
do it.
Right.
But if he swept out the kennel from the dog keeping business, now you give him 250 to pay for the Jordans. That is wages that you can deduct. So you bought the Jordans, but you get a deduction on your tax return. That is a
Mm.
flex. That's a flex.
Wow. So how do you keep track of that? You write your own receipt or something like that?
Correct. So all you have to do is you do have to keep good records, but your records can be as simple as a sheet of paper, or it can be an app on y'all's phone where he puts in for this week, he worked 10 hours. And in those 10 hours, he swept out the dog kennels, he poured water in the bowls, and he took 3 dogs for a walk. That was his 10 hours. You pay him $25 an hour. You paid him $250. He went
Mm.
and bought his Jordans. You have a write-off. Now, keep in mind, he was going to clean the kennel, put the water in the dog's bowl, and take the dog for a walk anyway, wasn't he? What they gonna do that? Because you're gonna tell him to do it anyway.
Right.
But it's a flex when you understand how to keep track of that and then write it off.
Right. Right. Wow. Listen, I'm learning from that. I'm learning.
Mike,
Wow.
listen, I could go. What's the song by I don't even know the artist, but she says I can go on for hours and hours
Oh,
and
money
hours.
long. Money long. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Money
love
long.
this stuff, y'all. And it's like,
Yeah.
this is the cheat code. This is the hack
Yeah.
that other cultures may know about that we don't know. We don't know. But listen, I'm going to tell it. I'm going to tell it all.
So Ashley had another question. She asked about a side hustle versus versus a LLC. Is there any way to turn your side hustle that you may have not legally specified?
I got you, Mike.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay, so you see me passing out at first. I'm like,
Right.
okay, Ashley, that's
Right.
me passing out. Okay, here's the thing. And by the way, you guys, sidebar, if you are picking up what I'm putting down, if you think that I can help you, please hit me up on my website or tell Mike to have me back.
Okay. Okay.
We
Okay.
can do this once a quarter. We can have quarterly segments. Tell Mike have me back. Okay.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
Ashley,
Yes, ma'am.
so I passed out with your question because I know LLC is a hot word. Okay. Go get your LLC. Get your LLC. I get it. I know. Here's the thing, you guys. The LLC is at your state level. When you get an LLC, like I have an LLC, the Moon Group LLC. Ding, plug, promotion. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So I have an LLC, and that is recognized by the state of Virginia. That's where I live. I am recognized as an LLC. That's great because the LLC gives me protection. If you're working with me, you're working with the Moon Group LLC, not Dedra Moon. So if the Moon Group messes up your taxes, you are able to sue the Moon Group, not Dedra Moon specifically. Okay. So your LLC gives you protection. I agree with it. I support it. Yes, get your LLC. However, for Uncle Sam, the LLC is what's called a disregarded entity. Disregarded entity. What that means to Uncle Sam is he don't care. He don't care nothing about no LLC. That LLC goes all of your activity, your income and your expenses go on what's called a Schedule C, which rolls into your 1040. And it is oftentimes taxed at a higher rate. Okay, so let me go back to that former president that owns all these corporations, the whatever towers, the whatever casino that he owned. Y'all know the one I'm talking about. Y'all know him. Okay. Because many of his businesses are corporations, he has certain tax benefits that you and I don't have as an LLC. Because again, the IRS considers an LLC a disregarded entity, meaning there are no benefits at tax time. So again, LLC, yes, I support it. I am an LLC. Yes, that's good for protection purposes. But for tax purposes,
Okay. So if I'm for instance, if I'm doing Zumba classes or
Okay.
jazzercise or
Mhm,
hip hop dance classes once or
mhm,
twice a week,
mhm.
that has nothing to do with an LLC. But if I'm being paid to do so, I still need to report it, even though it will probably be taxed at a higher rate than if I worked than I will be from a regular job.
Okay.
Is that
Yes.
does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So that's a great example, Mike. And yes, any side hustle you do, you are required to report that income. However, you can take your deductions. So if you're teaching Zumba twice a week at the Y, that is 15 miles from your house, 15 miles one way is 30 miles round trip. That's 60 miles per week that you can deduct from that income. So let's say you charge $20 per person to come to Zumba and you have 10 people. That's $200 that day that is potentially taxable. Well, you're going to take your mileage off, which is 30 miles because that's round trip, and that's at 62 cents per mile. So now that 200, you just brought that down to maybe 186. Okay.
Mm,
So
okay.
then your Y membership, because the Y make you pay, okay, so you pay $30 a month for the Y, that's $30 that comes off that 200, which was 186. That's now 156. Okay, well, you cannot go to Zumba class with the same outfit.
Hmm.
You just can't do that. I mean, you have to get new gear every time. So you're right. I mean, come on now. So your Zumba outfit might cost you $40. Okay, that $40 comes off of that 156. Now we're down to 116. So you see how all your deductions bring down that income. And so even if it is not officially an LLC, you still get the benefit of write-offs as because it's a business. It's a side hustle. You're not getting a
So,
W-2.
so am I to think that if I'm diligent in doing that, is that can I do that in lieu of a business license?
You can. I don't recommend
Wow.
it, but yes, you can. Yes. Mhm.
Wow.
Yep. You do not have to have a business license to take business deductions on your tax return. There's nothing that says you have to have a business license. Now, keep in mind,
Wow.
okay, but keep in
Okay.
mind, Mike, now, when you're doing your taxes, federal is Uncle Sam. Okay. Uncle Sam don't care. For real, Uncle Sam don't care. Let me keep it real with y'all. Y'all have seen the movie Scarface, right?
Hmm.
Y'all have heard of Al Capone, right? Okay.
Yep.
Al Capone did not NOT. He did not go to jail for his activity in the drug business. Al
Yeah, he
Capone
went to
went to
tax
jail
evasion.
for tax evasion.
Right.
So Uncle Sam does not care how you get your money. He just wants his piece. He just wants his
Mm.
piece. Okay, so I say that to say this. Federal is Uncle Sam. However, state, when you file your state taxes, if your state tax return goes in and there is business income and your state sees it, now your state might be like, oh, you running a business, but you don't have no business license? Oh, we don't allow that in our state.
Got
So
you.
again, I
Okay, so
say
that's where you get
right,
caught up. Okay,
right.
got you.
Uncle Sam don't care. Uncle Sam does not care, but your state will care. So
Got you.
if you are,
Understood.
yep, if you're doing
Understood.
a side hustle, you can take the business expenses. Just know that when you file it, it's going to your state. And if they catch it, then they're going to be like, oh, you're running a business with no business license. What are we doing here?
Right. Wow. Okay. Okay. Ashley, I hope that I hope that you got what you needed on that
And if
situation.
not, just hit me up. My website is right here on the broadcast. You can inbox me. I'm on social media. You can inbox me on Facebook, Instagram. I'm even on TikTok, y'all.
She,
Your
she said
auntie
she did.
accountant
She
is
said
on
she did.
TikTok.
She did already.
Oh,
She already did.
okay,
Okay.
Ashley. Okay.
Yeah.
But
Um.
yo, please follow me on social media. I give out lots of great information. It's free, it's good, it's timely, it's relatable, and it's for the culture.
I we've gone over time, and I don't want to hold you any longer.
Okay.
But I appreciate the gems that you have dropped, and like you said, we have just scratched the surface. So you absolutely have to come back. I may see if you can. I can get you during the week if you're not if you're available during next week, maybe.
For you, Mike,
Um,
for you and your group of people on Let's Take a Walk, I'm here. You call,
okay,
I'm here.
okay, I will hit you. I will hit you up. Um, Last question. This is the last question for tonight. It's a question that I ask all my guests. Um, Once I ask it, just take a moment, think about it, and give me the best answer that you can give me, most transparent answer that you can give me. The question is this: what would have to happen in your life if it hasn't happened already for you to consider your life a success? What does success look like for you specifically?
Okay, I know the answer, Mike.
Okay.
For me, success in my life would be helping people who look like me crack this code. Because people who don't look like me have had generations of people to help them crack the code, and we haven't. So for me, success, beyond, of course, having a great marriage and great kids, all that good stuff, which I do have, by the way. I've been married almost 30 years. I know I look very young. I know. um, but
Right.
beyond being able to have those things, right close to me, primary, my success comes in helping others crack the code. And this code, I have the key, y'all. I got the keys in my DJ Khaled voice.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Listen, I will be in touch with you this weekend to see if we can get you in next week, early next week, so we can continue this conversation so people can take advantage of this information, because a lot of the stuff you were telling me, like that IP pin thing, that blew my mind. I wish I'd have known about that a few years back.
Now
But
listen,
that's another
don't don't
situation.
have the baby mamas and the baby daddies in my inbox, okay?
Listen, hey, that's your business. You got to listen. That's You want that. You want that.
Okay, okay, but don't have them mad at me. Now, if they want to tussle, we can tussle. But
Oh
hey,
my God. No, 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 no. My people not like that. Not at all.
all right.
Yeah. So I thank you and I appreciate you coming on. I wish you an awesome night and an even more awesome weekend and much blessings on your business and everything that you are aspiring to do. I thank you for it, and I wish much blessings upon you for it.
Awesome. Thank you for having me, Mike. Thank you guys for listening, and hopefully you walk away with something that helps make it make sense.
Absolutely. All right. So you have a good night, man. Thank
All
you
right.
again.
Bye, y'all.
Uh, Yo, 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 yo. Um, Another great interview. I'm kind of frazzled today. Y'all see that? Um, I don't know why it is, but whatever. Anyway, great interview. Very informative. I learned a whole bunch, man. Please share this with others, man, because she dropped some gems that, I wish I would have known way back when. Please share this with others, man. Have them watch the playback on here or on YouTube. Check it out. Thank you for everybody that came on. Shout out to my brother Ked, my sister Ashley, my brother DC, and whoever else came on to watch and learn. I appreciate you guys for coming on, man. And this is that time of year, man, where we got to take into account for what we do, man. And each year we should learn, new stuff, so that when it comes time for us to, get our just due, we get that and then some. But one of the key things she said was that, it's her goal that we pay what we owe and not a penny more. And that's definitely a bar. That's definitely something that's we need to keep in mind. But with that being said, I know I look sleepy, y'all, but I'm very energized, man. I might be having an allergy or something. But anyway, thank y'all for coming on, man, and I appreciate y'all. And hopefully I'll see y'all again early next week, because I gotta get her back on, because we just kind of scratched the surface of what could be. I just kind of like let her go and let her, I didn't really ask many questions. I just let her go. And sometimes you got to do that, and so that we can all learn, because I definitely did learn, and I hope you did too. So with that being said, man, I'm signing off, man, and I'll see y'all in a couple of days. All right? Peace.
If you live in or plan to visit the great state of South Carolina and you find yourself anywhere near the Myrtle Beach area, you owe it to yourself to check out Mr. Clippers at Heads Up Cuts and Styles Barbershop and Salon, located at 110 El Bethel Road in the big city of Conway, South Carolina. I'm talking about the place where great staff, great atmosphere, and professionalism all come together. Yes, it's definitely a vibe. We service all ages and all hair types. To book an appointment, just head on over to mrclippers.booksy.com. Again, that's mrclippers.booksy.com. You can check out my work, you can check cost of services, and most importantly, check out those reviews. Man, I'm telling you, 5 stars. Listen, as a licensed professional barber with over 20 years of experience, this is what I do. You owe it to yourself to get the look that you want, the sharpness and the precision, just like you want it. Come on by Heads Up Barbershop and Salon and check out Mr. Clippers. It will be my pleasure to give you the service that you deserve.